The next step is to have a schedule, have a timeline of events and understanding not just what has to happen, but also when it might occur, when teams are likely to be working on certain parts of the workflow, so that if I'm the mechanical engineer, I know that I don't want to start placing some of this equipment until the structural steel has been finalized. Being able to understand and communicate and have those dependencies between tasks is really, really important. But one of the critical parts of the workflow is, and now I just to jump from these three modules to the project dashboard, this is where we would be adding all of our team members and teams and team members, and also defining project details, defining links out to other documents, other tools that we're using. Maybe we're using BIM 360 and we are using Zoom, and we have some links out to those tools. We can add a project image that will show up in everywhere else. We can define the teams. We can reorder teams so that these teams will show up in that order in other places. A whole bunch more that we can go into about adding prospective teams. Maybe if I was to make one of these teams to be a prospective team, actually probably gonna, let's not do that right now, but the concept is, actually I can just add a new team that's a prospective team. Let's say prospective team. That might be an appointed party. So if I add them, you see that they have different rights. There's a lot more detail to get into, but as you go through that bidding workflow, you might not want this team to be able to see other teams, and you might not want other teams to be able to see them until they are actually contracted on their work and starting to become part of the project. So there's some workflow in there. But I came to the dashboard so that I could turn on the other modules. So we'll have, in the second part of the demonstration, we're going to go through the schedule, track, and verify modules. If I turn those on, you'll see them appear at the top. And if I move from the workflow that we've just been talking about and move to the schedule, the first thing that we'll see is that per milestone, we don't have to start from scratch. We see all of the tasks that have been contracted for. And that example here, where we had the stairs, the concrete stairs, it is available for us for the structural team. Let's suppose that I am part of the structural team. And if I filtered just my work, I would start to see that by dragging and dropping, I can define the timeline and the durations for these tasks. So when I drag and drop these tasks in here, it's showing what I have been contracted for. And now I'm able to describe to the rest of the team when I'm going to be working on these activities. Really simple. It means that we don't have to think about what's in my scope. It's already defined as it's part of the contract. And every team has access to schedule their own stuff and to be able to really identify what it is and when it will be delivered, and understand that in surrounding with the other team's tasks as well. Really clear visual way of doing it. This can be complemented by adding your own tasks in the timeline as well as just untitled, custom tasks, new task, and then everything that's in here is very flexible, very easy to be updated as well. We can define dependencies between these. So we could say from one task to another task, that needs to be a dependency. If there is a dependency that maybe is a critical dependency, we will see it in red. Usually when you have a dependency between teams, it's very important to have a discussion if there is a dependency that is red, because it is showing that maybe we're not going to be done in time for these guys to have all of the information to place the columns, for example.